Okay, so we're gonna try to get this done in like 10 minutes tops. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel, and thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. We're going to be talking about this time. It's really night, like it's night. It doesn't look like it, but it's summer, so it is. It is what it is. So we're talking about why women like bad boys, and I want to first get into how this even became a thing for us as human beings, because there's a misconception about what it means to be an assertive man, masculine, powerful, high value, dare I use that term, and just being a plain old jerk. And women tend to actually not be able to tell the difference between these two things because of a couple of reasons. And we're going to talk about that also in this video. So let's get right into it, shall we? I think one of the biggest misconceptions about bad boys is that uh, being able to be aggressive, being able to be violent, being able to assert one's strength or to be assertive is all that encompasses being a bad boy. But there are other things that are not as attractive or necessary or even healthy for a man to have when in the dating arena, let's call it that. And some of those things, I've written them down that have come up over and over again are misplaced aggression, not having respect for authority, misplaced anger, violence towards women, being able to not being able to assert themselves properly in the appropriate situations, and being able to provide. So people tend to think that just because a man is aggressive and violent or can have the tendency or is not afraid to get into a fight, or who is just a plain old fighter, that means that if you have that tendency, then you are toxic or whatever the situation may be. So women traditionally would be attracted to these men because it literally meant life or death for you and your children. When you are pregnant or when you are picking a mate or someone to have children with, you already know that when you're pregnant, you're in a vulnerable state of being. You want people around you that can protect you in that state and make you feel safe. That is one of the primal instincts that is deeply embedded into most women when picking a man. And when we're going from this primal instinct, which is deeply embedded in our psyche and our mental state of being, and when it comes to attraction, there is a very fine line that we are which is sometimes very hard to find in being able to understand a man that is able to assert and protect his family, but as opposed to a man who is just always asserting himself in inappropriate ways that are no longer necessary or even accepted in society. And so one of the things that I have noticed is that if a guy is not afraid to get violent in general, chances are that he will be in a situation where he is unable to control his emotions. And that to me is one of the most important aspects of being a man, or important aspects of being any human being or adulting, period. And so when a man cannot control his emotions, whoa, that happened. Let me stop playing with it. Put it somewhere. Put it somewhere. Okay. So if a man is not able to assert himself in a positive way without always having to use aggression, physical aggression, then he is also not the man for you. But speaking specifically about bad boys and why women are attracted to them is because of this reason of wanting to feel safe and wanting to feel protected. Now, ladies, I want us to be very, very clear. A man who makes you feel safe does not always show that he is protective or keeping you protected by asserting himself physically. A man who can make you feel safe also has to do with things like being a good provider, being considerate, being respectful, being able to be respected by other members of society, including other men that he associates with. He also has to be somebody that men respect. And this is kind of one of the definitions, according to Kevin Samuels, that is something that is a definition of an alpha male. And we have also found this in different societies that being an alpha male does not always necessarily mean the man with the most money or the most accolades, but the man who is well respected and popular and is considerate of other people's needs, especially when it comes to the needs of others who are less able and capable of taking care of themselves. And so this is one of the things that women have a hard time differentiating between the jerk, I would say, the jerk, the joust, and the jockey. And those things to me say that this comes from a lack of self-awareness. When a woman is not as self-aware about exactly what it means to be protected, to feel safe, and I think I'm going to do another whole episode specifically just on what it actually means to be a provider and a protector and a real man. But just for now, we want to focus on why it is that women get into this trap. It is because of some inundated reason of feeling abandoned, not having a proper example or role model of what an actual good, healthy relationship with a man looks like to refer back to say this is protection, this is control, and not being able to draw that line is as a direct result of not having had seen those things growing up. And I'm not going to say it is specifically to single parent households because you can have had a father in your life, but maybe he was absentee in his level of emotional availability. And that could have also caused such a way of being. Men need to steer clear of these kinds of women. And I know it can be very difficult since a lot of women grew up in such households, myself included. If a woman is not doing the work to identify having been in abusive relationships before, what it is she did to contribute, if you are a consenting adult, to the demise of said interaction, not to say that you deserve to be abused, but why did you pick that kind of guy in the first place? This comes from being able to recognize your participation in this kind of a relationship and being able to recognize when and how to establish healthy boundaries with men so that they know that you're not the one to be bringing this kind of behavior to, i.e., then having that man just kind of just fade out away from you, um, is comes as a direct result of that level of self-awareness. And if you continuously to have relationships with men that are dysfunctional, or continuously, let me rephrase, continuously attract men that are dysfunctional, that is a direct reflection of something that is deficient in your selection choices that need to be changed. And one of the things I want to offer that I learned in my own selection process is self esteem. Women who have very low self esteem have a very hard time establishing healthy boundaries with people in general. We don't practice our no often enough, which makes our yes seem very cheap. And this is hard for women to hear. It's very hard for women to hear because it comes across as victimizing the victim. I don't really necessarily believe that they're victims in life, especially when it comes to relationship and relating. I feel like once we start to accept some of our personal responsibilities, then we can make better choices in the future. But it starts first with the no. No, this is not what protection looks like. This is what it looks like. And we can actually amalgamate and change the way men and women relate by standing firm in what we believe and having standards that we hold ourselves to and stick to. Be willing to accept a man who is nice to you while still encouraging and celebrating his natural desire to want to protect you, and be able to discern when a man is just simply straight up being controlling, and to be able to discern when he's not and just being plain old um, protective. Uh, that will come from having the ability and the confidence to say to yourself and to your partner, this is what I need. This is how I expect it to be manifested in our relationship. And if that person is not willing and ready to do that and is not actively showing you that within the relationship from the beginning, then be willing and ready and happy to just say goodbye to that person and move on and find somebody who is more in alignment with this way of being. So I hope that this has been very helpful to you guys. I hope that you stop by again. I drop this kind of content all the time, every day at this point. So if you like this content, please subscribe. It would be doing you a great solid. We're going to aim for 1,000 subscribers this month. So be a part of our community so that you can get more information and more comments like this. I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe and stay free.